So, Miss Catherine, it's October 12th, 2023. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Been sick for like 3 weeks. It's been great. Got my antibiotics yesterday, so by the time we're ready to start recording next week, I should no longer have a cough.
That's good. Okay.
Yes.
Well, if you cough this week, we understand what's going on. So,
Yep. You will have to forgive me or not, but
or
I
not.
won't care either way.
Yeah, just do what's necessary. We get
Yep.
it.
So how are you?
I am, I have spent the last 2 days basically asleep.
Oh,
And so today I'm trying to do some catching up on the fictionary certification and getting that done. I want to have it done by mid-November.
mm,
Um, but we'll see how that actually goes. Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
understandable.
So yeah, it's a full developmental edit, and I've already been through the manuscript one time, just as a quick read, and now I'm going back. Um, Now that I know what happens, I'm going back to the to each scene and doing the 38 elements that Fictionary has for scenes and filling those out. And then once that's done, then you can go into the visualization and see where stuff is. So,
Nice.
yep.
I am working on a reader magnet, Theodore story, which has been like chef's kiss to me because I love Theodore's backstory. Um, I don't know if I told you what his side story was.
No.
So do you remember when they were sitting at the table and like sharing stories back and forth a bit? And he's like, "How did I?" And she's like, "How did you become an engineer?" And he's like, "Well, I jumped." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'd like did this huge crazy jump, happened to like catch your dad's attention, and bam, I became an engineer." Well, it's that story. And
Oh,
it's
that
like
sounds cool.
so cool to go about it because like you see um so she witnessed as a kid somebody die in the factory, and it really changed her mindset of, hey, like they're people too, but nobody really cared because she's upper class. And she just couldn't understand why they were like, yeah, it's fine, like he died, we just replaced him. She's like, yeah, but that's a life. Like, what do you mean you just replaced him? So part of that story is that Theodore was up there. So she had watched that scene, didn't know it was Theodore who was the other friend. So in his short story, it starts off with that scene of him and his friend joking around and like doing their normal life and routine, and then him watching his friend die, and how it starts triggering him to be like, I can't just stand around and like not help someone. I have to help someone if they're in need, which makes sense because I mean, you've read Theodore and that's what he does.
Yeah.
So, like, that's his starting where, like, he's like, no, if someone's, I'm gonna do stuff, or I'm gonna move myself into a position where I can help people if I need to. And so this is his story where he accidentally tells Mr. Leonard off in the burning room as thinking that he's the head engineer. And he's like, yo, you didn't send anybody down here. And clearly you need better engineers in your section. And Mr. Leonard's like, all right, I'll give you a chance. But it's like such a fun story to go through. And I am part of another critique group that does a lot of editing stuff. And so they are taking a look at this and they're going through it. So it's been fun. I get to meet with them tomorrow. So I'm excited to hear their feedback on it.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to reading it because I did like that story. I had my comments about it, like but I didn't hate the story, and I liked Eleanor's intro as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say about Theodore.
Yeah. Because Eleanor's story, I'm having a hard time writing her short story. Mostly because, like, so Lizzie's short story, she's 17 in it. So it takes place 8 years before the book starts. But
Hmm.
8 years before the book starts, Eleanor is 10. Like, so the only thing happening to you right now, sweetheart, is you watch somebody die. Like, that's it. So I'm trying to, because I know at 15 she does something crazy, and like that's why she becomes the heiress to the factory. And I thought about doing that story, but that one's would take longer, I think, than a simple short story should. So I might pull some of the things from the first 14 chapters to be like, here's a short story of Eleanor.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but yeah.
Well, what do you have cooking next week?
Oh, nothing at all. Nothing. Oh, just a workshop.
Just a
Some friends are
workshop.
gonna fly in from a different states, drive in from a different state, come see me. Nothing big.
Yeah. I'm sure that nobody's looking forward to it or at all interested in what's going on.
No, it's such a pain in my butt. Like I'm sitting over here, I have to finish that darn workbook. Actually, I really do need to finish that darn workbook. I've got 2 weeks. But and it's so the workbook, I'm like, when I think of things, you know me, I'm an overwriter. So I have written way more into this workbook than I've needed already, and I've already pulled out 15 pages. So I'm like, all right, you need to chill a little bit and you need to go through what exactly you need to do. So it's been interesting.
Well,
I'm
I'm,
thinking the workbook's going to be something like 60 pages,
oh, wow. Okay.
but I'm
Well,
also making it like larger print because I know some people have a hard time reading.
with little bitty print. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm one of those people. I've got bifocal lenses and I'm constantly having to move my head up and down to read. And especially with small stuff, I wind up taking my glasses off and looking real close. And it's not good for the eyes and it's not good for the brain. So
yeah.
larger text is helpful. And
Yeah, I
it's
think I
not,
have it at like 16 or 18 for the text.
yeah, that's 16 is pretty good.
Mhm.
So,
So yeah, so it's taken up more like room to like, here's how I explain how to roll for the dice,
mhm,
or here's what a dwarf is. Like,
yeah.
because, and I'm sitting there being like, man, I wish someone had explained a fucking character sheet to me like this when I first was handed it. Because like you're handed a character sheet in D&D, and if any of you don't know D&D, look up a character sheet and you will suddenly see this thing and be like, nope. But the first time they were like, yeah, just roll some dice, do some math over here, add this. What do you think? And I'm like, I don't even understand what any of this even says. Like, then you really only need like a section of the character sheet anyway
Hmm.
to actually get started. So, but yeah, I was looking through and I was like, if someone had told me to like fill it out based on these things, man, my characters would be epic. Like they were epic, but it took me time to learn how to fill out a character sheet. So,
Hmm. Well, I am looking forward to strapping a plane to my ass and coming up there.
mhm.
So,
Oh, and I was hoping you could help me with something for our wonderful workshop.
what do I need to do now?
Well, I'm gonna need a second DM during the second day.
Okay.
And I need to come up with an escape room because that's what they're gonna do. Because I'm gonna do it as like two groups. You could either have sci-fi for those who are doing complete sci-fi, don't want the magic stuff, they just want sci-fi, and those who are doing the fantasy. Because like those usually are the two good groups to break it up into.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna have each run the exact same game, and they're all stuck in an escape room. And
Hmm.
how do you get out?
I've never done an escape room, so I don't know what kind of puzzles there are.
Oh, you can make them up as you go. Like they're kind of fun.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. But anyway, so that's what I'm up to this
Okay.
week and next week, trying to figure out stuff on top of all of the work that I forgot I had to do, like the articles. that I have to write.
You're just so busy all the time. I don't understand how you manage it.
See, like, I don't think I'm busy enough. Oh, and I'm also moving, so I have to pack. So yeah, no, this month I'm definitely busy.
So you got the house?
Sort of. Like, the paperwork hasn't been officially signed, but the uncle's like, please just sign the damn papers already. But we keep having to go back and forth between the lawyer. The lawyer was like, hey, you need to hash out this section of the contract. Sent it to us. So we hashed it out. Now we send it back. And now he's like, oh, in this section, we're like, you couldn't just send us all the sections at once.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of that to be like, hey, you're covering this. No, I'm covering that. No, you're covering this.
Yeah. Get a title policy. So get
Yeah.
an inspection if you haven't. Did you do an inspection?
Oh yeah, that's all already been done.
Okay, good.
So it's literally we're just going over the rent to own contract part
Oh,
because
okay.
we're doing the renting for 1 year, and then at the end of that year we buy the house.
Okay. That works.
Yeah. So it's the renting part of the agreement that they're hashing out.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'm gonna be packing and cleaning, writing articles, finishing my workbook, coming up with a D&D game. That or I'm just gonna pull it out of my ass on the day of and be like, bam, pantsing, because who plans stuff anyway?
That sounds so like you.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, how else does a DM work? Like, do DMs actually plan stuff out? Because I mean, I've heard of DMs who plan stuff out, but anytime I've ever DM'd, I'm like, all right, I got a story idea. It's not even going to matter because none of you are going to follow what I wanted you to do anyway. So I'm just going to start with the premise and we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it works, even if you plan stuff out.
Okay.
I've always used canned scenarios. Um, I'll get a module and we'll work that into the scenario or into the, sort of campaign that we've been doing. But it's like, do I really want to spend a lot of time when they're going to run off and do whatever the heck they want to anyway?
Mhm.
So, you know,
That's why I thought an escape room would be really funny. Because I know like you have riddles, and if you've ever heard people argue in an escape room or like watch any of those videos, it is hilarious. Because like it could literally be like, no, you actually do need to just push the button.
I did a scenario at a convention one time that it was about kings from different worlds or different lands, and they were kidnapped at night, so they weren't wearing any real clothing, and they didn't have their equipment, and they had only the spells that they had memorized, but they didn't have any material components. In this scenario, you had to play material components. And the scenario was about the seven deadly sins. So each of the one of the seven doors that you chose that you walked through as a party led to an encounter about one of the seven deadly sins. So you had to climb in and kill a sloth, or you had to, I forget all of what they were, but each of the seven deadly sins was represented, but the scenario was time limited. We only had 4 hours, so you couldn't get through all seven. So what people noticed when they talked about the scenario after was that it didn't matter which door they went through. At the end, their last one was always the dragon. And you had to kill the dragon. So, you know. Oh, it was called It's Good to Be King. That's right.
Okay.
So I wish I still had a copy of it. It was a good scenario. It was a lot of fun. Um, and it came with characters and everything.
Nice.
Yep. So anyway, that's all I've got going on. I need to start packing and getting ready to come up to see you.
Mm-hmm. And plan your 30-minute class.
Yeah, I need to plan my 30 minutes. I don't know. I need to talk to you about that. But
Okay.
at some point when we're not both busy. which I don't know when that's going to be.
I don't know, you could do it my way and just plan it the day you come up. I mean, you've got a spare day.
I do have a spare day. That's true. That's
Mhm.
true. So are you, but I have questions about the venue and all that sort of stuff. So we'll figure it out this coming week.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to get my laptop computer ready. I don't mess with my laptop very much anymore. So I need to get it down and get it ready to come and make sure that I have all my stuff and all my softwares updated and all the things. So
All right. I look forward to it. I mean, this is gonna be fun. Even if we don't get anybody who signs up, I think it's gonna be fun.
I think it'll be great. So we'll have a good time one way or the other between us and the friend that we have coming.
Yes.
We'll have a great time. So anyway, that's all I got this week.
Same.
All right. Well, then we'll see everybody next time.
Stay magical.
Bye.